Hi, I'm Carolyn Evans-Hammond, and welcome to my tasting room. Carolyn's tasting room is where you can taste exciting wines with me. And tonight, we taste 4 wines that are perfect for holiday gifting. This is the second of my 2-part series, so here's the lineup. The non-vintage Champagne Nicolas Feuillatte Reserve exclusive Brut from France. The 2022 Whitehaven Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough. The 2021 Tenute Orestiadi Molino Vento Nero dAvola from Sicily, and the 2021 Casillero Del Diablo Cabernet Sauvignon Reserva from Chile. So let's taste. So the first wine in our flight is champagne. Now champagne is inherently celebratory, so it's perfect this time of year. But champagne is also a wine as well as just something to toast. So it's a wine you can count on for things like holiday feasting. Yes, you can serve it at parties with finger food, but you can also serve it at the table with roast turkey. So pour yourself a glass and let's take a look. Notice the color. The color is golden with sort of paler gold inflections, sort of white gold inflections, and tiny persistent bubbles threading the center and beading along the edge of the glass. Everything you want to see in champagne. So let's have a nose. Oh, isn't that lovely? Butterscotch, marzipan, cooked or baked apple, as well as biscuity notes underpinning that fruit. Do you notice that? Hallmark champagne. Now we do know that this is a blend of 40% Pinot Noir for power, 40% Pinot Meunier, finesse, and 20% Chardonnay for elegant. So we'll be looking for that on the palate. The attack is incredibly expressive, bright, refreshing, lifted, and then do you notice how it cascades with everything we found on the nose, as well as more? I'm even getting a bit of seashell or something on the finish, and it lingers. It's still there. Incredibly powerful, long finish. Mark of a good champagne. Now, I love this champagne, but I even love it more when it comes in a 200 ml bottle. Now, this is this isn't available in all markets, but if you find them, or if you find one of these, snap it up, because you can put it in a stocking, you can give it as an add-on gift, you can give it to your favorite neighbor, and it's not going to break the bank. It's only this is about $20. So it's a little luxury, and I love that. This is a wine that I think goes beautifully with things like cheese. You usually think red wine with cheese, but actually this with soft cheeses, marvelous. Or pour it with roast turkey, yes, or have it on its own. The second wine in our flight is a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. It's from Marlborough, and it's a wine that if you're following me, you know that I like it. Now this is from Whitehaven, and it's a 2022 vintage, and I think it's marvelous. So pour yourself a glass and let's taste. Notice the color. Notice how different it is from the first wine. This is almost a pale straw, silvery wine. Very bright, very clear. And what's interesting is also, it's almost like there's a weight in the glass, a little bit of oiliness or something, which I find very interesting. It's a testament to body. This has about 13% alcohol, so we should be looking for a bit of, weight. And if you swirl it, you can see how the wine drapes down the inside of the glass, confirming that, hypothesis. And on the nose, isn't that lovely? Lime, jalapeno, and salt. Hint of gooseberry, hint of damp herbs, hint of grapefruit. The kind of wine that you can give with confidence if you know somebody loves New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, and we all know somebody like that. Plus, it's perfect for the Mexican food lover, for all of the profile we just described. So let's have a sip and taste. Beautiful. Drenches a palate, smooth, almost glass-like, and yet there's weight there too, and it lingers. That weight kind of holds everything together and then leaves it to linger on the palate. So it's got that length and that persistence that makes it, you know, a cut above. It makes it really good for food pairing, bridging to the next bite of whatever. And this is a kind of wine, goat cheese, magic. Asparagus, yes. Pesto, fabulous. So many things you could have with it, but it's also a great sipper on its own, cocktail style, because there's so much depth of fruit. So let's have a sip. We're going to do a little technical fun. Focus on the sides of the palate because it just tastes delicious, but you don't really notice just how crisp it is until you focus there. So let's do that. Notice how much your mouth waters. This has sky-high acidity, but because there's so much fruit concentration, you don't notice. It just tastes incredibly, incredibly refreshing. And the alcohol level's cloaked by that fruit. And it's actually a bone-dry wine. So there's no residual sugar. And it's, you know, it's really a great quality pour. Serve it with tacos, serve it with that kind of thing, or gift it with confidence to anybody who loves Mexican. If you have a social butterfly or an entertainer on your list, I have the wine for you. It's this wine. It's a third one in our flight, and it's a Nero dAvola from Sicily. The charm of this wine is it's not very expensive, at around $13 in Canada and the US, but it's also a complete crowd pleaser. And not very many people really know Nero dAvola. See, Nero dAvola is similar in style to a really dry style of Shiraz. So you've got the pepper, the plum, that kind of thing, but I'm not going to lead you any further. Let's taste. Pour yourself a glass. Notice the depth of color. Great color, classic. This is a sun-drenched region and the berries are ripe. So you can see the depth of color in the glass. What we want to see, give it a swirl and a sniff. Do you see that? There's a smoky, sort of roasted plum, black pepper for sure, and a touch of bittersweet chocolate. Lovely. This is hallmark Nero dAvola that won't break the bank. Plus, it's organic. So it's, you know, organic wine is always sort of a little bit better. The fruit just is better. So let's have a taste. Smooth, palate-wrenching, delicious. The kind of wine doesn't require a lot of attention, but it does get your attention because it's so yummy. It's a kind of wine you can pour with absolutely everything. A handful of nuts, a bowl of chips, yes, or a nice steak-free dinner. So this is the kind of wine that's perfect for the entertainer, but it's also perfect for that casual gift you want to give someone and you don't really know what they like. You don't know how far along in their wine journey they are. So you want to give them something that will appeal to everybody. And this is a great bottle for that. So let's have a quick taste and see how it's expressing itself on the palate. Isn't that beautiful? So smooth, and yet there's enough texture underpinning the fruit to hold things in place and give it a little bit of earthy gravitas, a little bit of tug, which is great. Gives it a hint of seriousness, and yet it's dry, it's light in body, light to medium, and it's got everything you found on the nose being reflected on the palate, so there's a little complexity too. This is a wine I think you can gift with confidence. And the last one in our flight is a Chilean Cabernet Sauvignon. Now this is a wine that you give to the little devil on your list. Why? Because it's called Cello Del Diablo. Diablo means devil. So pour yourself a glass and let's taste. Notice immediately the depth of color. Lots of color here. This is classic Cabernet Sauvignon because there is that, you know, almost black center. So a swirl and a sniff. Now this smells exactly like you'd expect a Cabernet to smell like, except it's not too forward. So there's a little bit of restraint, which I quite like. Cassis, yes. Roasted nut. Hazelnut maybe. A little bit of coffee too. Maybe black raspberry too, sort of a poached black raspberry. Lovely. Lots going on. Depth, yes. Have a sip. Do you notice that? Do you notice how bright it is? It tastes like it's lit from within or something like that. And that's because this is from Chile. Now, Chilean Cabernet Sauvignon, especially this expression, is more lifted and more bright and less sort of weighty, if you like, than you find in places like Australia and California. So that lift makes it refreshing, it makes it clean tasting, and it makes it very food friendly because it scrapes the palate clean. So let's have another sip and see if we're finding everything we found on the nose echoing appropriately on the palate. It sweeps in, yes, with the nuts and the raspberry and the drizzle of cassis. And then as it tapers, coffee bean, notice that? A little bit of slate, perhaps, and a chalky texture that leaves the palate seasoned. Lovely little wine, and it doesn't cost a lot. I think it's under $15 in Canada and less than $10 in the US. It's got weight, it's got, you know, it's typical for Cabernet Sauvignon from Chile, and I think it's a good buy. And you've probably got a devil on your list. So there you have it, 4 fabulous gift ideas. Did any of these wines suit a wine lover on your list? Let me know. Send me a message on social. I'm always around and I would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like and subscribe because I'm coming right back with another flight of terrific wines here on Carolyn's Tasting Room so you can drink better and learn how.